I had to fucking do something about it. You know, did I get paid for it? No, fuck. Just thought, but fuck it, who cares? Like, there's just so much more, but I don't want to keep fucking just staying in this moment. Sorry guys, I want to just move on. Tour happened, right? Before the tour, Mitre 2. So this is where everything started fucking getting weird. You know, one day, like, I was like we were doing Head in the Clouds. I think first LA show ever. This is when I debuted. This is the first time I went to LA to do Head in the Clouds. And during that period, obviously, the conversation started happening because I became an artist. It's like, oh, what, you know, let's start. Me and Tyler were like, let's start talking about the rights to DPR and the shares. Because isn't it a good time to bring that up? Because, you know, my contract ended, and, you know, like, to see where really how much money this was being kind of, I guess, distributed towards. Because during that period of time, Live was having exemplary examples of certain different other artists that was making this much as opposed to how much we were making. And it was shady because come to think of it now and really seeing the artist contract that Live was signed to, no one had any idea. No one had any idea. We had no blueprint to go off of. So whatever we thought was fair, or whatever Scott thought was fair, we just kind of like, all right, yeah, I guess that's it. Like, because how do we know? We're fucking young, dumb, and stupid, and we're just naive. So everyone is accountable for that measure. It's not just Scott. It's like everyone, right? Like, I'm accountable for like not being as knowledgeable, but that's what life teaches you. It teaches you to learn, grow, and experience. You know, and sometimes you just have to ram through it. So fast forward, okay, that's when all these questions started arising. Bro, how much are you really making? Fuck, I don't know. But like, my friend here in this company is like fucking making this much, you know? And his streams are like this, you know? So what's the catch? So then, you know, I still remember. So that was our first conversation we had with Scott. Yo, what's happening with this whole like split ratio thing with DPR? Like, what's really going on? What is really going on? I thought you said it didn't matter. I thought you said whose name's on the, I guess, shareholders list for DPR has the trademark. It don't really matter because that's how we would play it off. Time and time, I tell you guys, it's not like we've never had this conversation. We've had this conversation time and time, but it would always come to the conclusion of like, bro, that's not how our system works. That's not how the money's really distributed. That's not how like things just work around. We're a unique blueprint, which I agree to, right? I understand we are a unique blueprint. Now that being said, like, how do we, bro, like, that's when, you know, Tarbin started getting mad shifty about Scott. And, you know, I complied because I thought I was like, bro, if it's like all set and clean and if it doesn't really matter, like, why are you so like adamant on not wanting to show this or not wanting to do this and that? So it started building up from there, as you can imagine. It started really building up, and Tarbin just got more and more like, you know, fucking started catching on. And I was in the middle of making Mitre 2. And again, for me, it's just like, fuck. I felt like I was just starting my artistry. I just felt like I was just starting my journey into this whole like, fuck, you know, I get to express myself. I get to like finally open up about my past traumas. Maybe this would be the healing journey and the necessary step that I need for myself. Fuck, maybe this is it. And henceforth, like, Mitre 2 happened, you know? So for me, you gotta understand, like, my perspective of this was like, yeah, fuck, I don't know if there's fuckery, because I refuse to believe someone that I care for personally, could be at the helm of doing all of that. And for me, and number two, this, you know, again, like, I just couldn't understand, like, what, like, you know, if that was to come to the light, don't you think that would fuck everything up anyway? So, like, why would anyone do that? So, you know, fast forward, like, I remember Tarbin coming in during when I was making Mitre 2, and he was like, "Hey, like, fuck, you got to stop this. You got to stop this right now." You know, it's like, everything you've done, like, it's owned by this motherfucker. And what if this guy owns it completely? Like, what if he doesn't give it back? And I was like, oh. Like, I've never really thought of it like that. Like, I've never really thought about somebody else owning certain trademarks or something and running off with that. And I understand the importance of that for every artist, because you, as an artist, if you contribute and you dedicate your whole life's purpose into making something, you would need the rights to that. And obviously that, in these days, today's day and age, is masters. It's like, who has the rights to certain masters? You hear about it all the time. Big artists buying their buying their masters from other people, buying their whole fucking list. And it's a huge thing. It's like you want to be the owner of what you truly deserve, like what's rightfully yours. And I was like, man, this can't be a hard conversation to have with Scott. Like, if this is something we have just figured out, then it's probably time for us as the individuals that have just figured this out now to bring to light. And if it's something that we all were just not knowledgeable of, then there should just be no malice, as opposed to like, hey, fuck you, fuck you for this. But again, I was also a victim to this, so I just thought, okay, you know what? You're right. This guy is clearly very, very, very like upset and bothered. And if I'm being completely honest, seeing Tarbin upset bothers me more than the actual thing. And I know that's kind of weird, but I can't explain anything otherwise. Like, I can't lie to you. That's genuinely just how I felt. So I decided to at that period in time, just stop Mitre 2 for a bit. And then my mum calls, and this is when my mum starts getting involved with this whole thing, because my mum is very intuitional. I trust my mum. Everything my mum called for, she was never wrong about. She was always right. Like, a term that says mum's always right, like I do not shit you, that is something that I truly am scared of, because I truly believe it. My mom's intuition is none like other, and she told me to just keep going, because it's just something that I had to do for myself. I'm not used to that term, do it for yourself. I'm not familiar with that term, and because I'm not used to that term, do it for yourself, even that period of time I struggled to do things for myself. I felt like if I did things for myself, it would be the epitome of somebody else's at somebody else's expense, whether it be their mental health or whatever. It's fucking toxic, I know. But anyway, I just thought, okay, fine, let's just keep doing this, but let's still hear this guy out. And I moved to LA, in that turbulent fucking turmoil of a time, while we were scheduled to do our first regime tour. And this was such a big deal because, guys, this tour was the first tour that me, Tarbin, and Cream, and yeah, pretty much us three, and Arctic, we're going to be like together as a unit on tour, on stage. More important than me and Tarbin just being together as a unit on tour was something that I've always wanted, iconically, just something that I've always imagined to be good, and I know him too was somebody that would have saw that as that. But obviously, as time developed, I guess up till now, how much he was making, and up to that, like, he got all of that, like, pretty much audited and kind of printed out, and you could see it. So I remember he came to me and he's like, oh, guess what, like, this is bam, like, this is crazy. This is how much I was making. And mind you, like, I don't nose into that. Like, I don't put my nose into like, oh, how much are you making? And I would imagine a lot of people are like that anyways. But I still remember seeing. I saw the amounts of money that he was making over the last 8-7 years. I mean, sorry, not 8-7 years, but as an artist, from when he started becoming an artist. So the period of 3-4 years, I believe, 4 years or 5. And I remember seeing the amount that he made. Mind you, he was being wrongfully misplaced as well. But you got to understand, like, in my mind, I thought there was like a certain number that everyone was making, and I just thought it never really passed that. So when I saw the amount that he was making, even that was like something that he wasn't even meant to make. He was meant to make way more. That like shocked me to the core. So remember, I'm like, bro, if you're making this much, and this was like a big problem for you up to this point, how fucked was I getting? Now, how hard was I getting fucked? So, like, holy fuck, you were making, like, you gotta understand, like, I just didn't, like, I couldn't comprehend that. Whoa, we're like, yo, like it made me really reflect. Like it made me really reflect on how much I was really making for any of this, like, really. And then I started tripping out, like fuck, like yo, like I've never really seen that amount of money being made before on one term, not even like just one term. I'm not going to disclose the amount of money that we've made. Just know I had to fucking I had to think. There was a period of time where I told John, and this was during iCool. I was like, maybe I have to start working at the convenience store, like as a side gig. Like legit, I was like, I'm looking into doing a side gig at a cafe or fucking hell. Fuck. But like anyway, point being, like that'll probably give you a good idea of what I was fucking struggling to make amends with. And like just seeing that, I guess, kind of really started opening these doors to my mind where I just thought would never lead me to my salvation. Bringing back the idea of DPR being my salvation slowly started taking hits. And you got to understand, like, my idea and identity built on this whole idea of believing in a team and believing in the people that I love. Even showing all of the people necessary to my disabilities was a big thing for me. I had a hard time opening up about it. Scott was one of the few, if not the first person that I've ever opened my switches to. Which is probably why I'm a little bit more angry and a little bit more upset that things happened the way they did. Because I trusted him with all of that. So anyway, sorry. So I just thought, fuck, how are we going to do this tour? And mind you, at that period of time, like, I was so minded too, man. Like, I was fucking dying. I was going manic every fucking day because of this drama that was happening and what it could possibly mean. Like, holy shit, if this was true, if this all came to fruition, and this was like the worst case scenario that I could possibly imagine for us, it's probably going to be the end for me. Like, it's probably going to do me in. Like, I can't survive another sea clown. I can't. Like, I just fucking can't. Like, I refuse to believe that this is going to be the demise of me. Like, it's going to be the downfall of me. And I was tripping out because, like, everyone else was tripping out, and, once these things started coming to fruition, and we're like, oh my God, bro, did you know that this was being mishandled? Like, here's the thing, right? When we earn this amount of money, it gets distributed to the investor side, about 30%, and we take about 70% to DPR. 70% of which the funds are now coming in from, like, whether it be shows, whether it be like fucking the royalties and masters and all of that is coming in, but it was being distributed by one individual. Yes, you guessed it. But what was it being distributed based on? Just based on how he feels like he deserves it should be distributed. So pretty much playing like fucking like God, like playing just what he thinks it deserves, how much he thinks somebody deserves in this period of time. In comes like the secretary that I told you I brought in. This guy I've vouched for ever since I came to Korea, right? I will not name him, but he's my first friend, one of my first friends in when I first came to Korea. So when I was 21, he was one of my first mates. I gave him a job when he came back from the army. He didn't know how to do any of it, but I trusted him because obviously I thought I had him figured out. But it turns out this guy that was handling the receipts and talking on the phone for all these people that on the finance side, or so, you know, secretary is kind of the right term. So under the tables, he made more in a year than I had in the last 5. So 5 years of what I made in DPR would be less than the 1 year of how much he made in a year. I was fucking... Shit. Sorry. So, you know, when I ask why, right? When I fucking ask why, it's like you just needed somebody on your side. Just needed somebody on your fucking side. Those instances where I had to borrow money. I remember as I was editing Mitre 2, fucking manicked out. 6 days out of the 7, I just couldn't sleep. I knew this had to be done because if I couldn't finish it, you know, I didn't want to leave my fans, and certainly number one, I didn't want to give the impression to our fans that, you know, something was fucking bubbling to this point. So I just kept pushing on, closed my eyes, just kept pushing on. And then, you know, Scott would be calling me in the background and he'd be like, you know what, fuck. Just all of a sudden he's like, Tubby's leaving. I'm like, what the fuck? That wasn't what we talked about last conversation. He's like, no, Tubby's leaving. In my mind, when I heard that, I'm like, nah, there's no way he said that and he believes it. Because again, at that period of time, there was no real thing. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew the juice of it, and I was like, yeah, let's get to the bottom of it. But we had tour coming up, and I was in the fucking process of making Mitre 2, and I already shot the video and already done all of that, and it was like, okay, I'm sure this guy's bluffing. I'm sure Tubin must be bluffing to Scott, because at that period of time, obviously their relationship wasn't fucking flowers and daffodils. He must be lying to him. Otherwise, he would tell me. He would tell me that he was leaving first. So, you know, that's when, you know, because obviously, I think he told Jeff first. He told Jeff first. And Jeff, I think that's when Jeff got first, what the fuck is going on? And the reason why I want to give you context about this guy is because of moments like this. If he was anywhere near in on these things, it would have already fucking came to light. My mum had found the best lawyers. We already fucking went through this time. But that's not the point. What I'm trying to say is, Mitre 2, Live said he was leaving. I had to finish fucking editing. Scott was on his fucking on the ground melting, having a panic attack. I was trying to deal with all of this, and I finished it. I somehow finished editing Mitre 2 just 3 hours before the release, and I fucking uploaded it and fucking sent it out to the world. At that period of time, Mitre 2 didn't matter. None of it mattered. I didn't care about it because nobody else really fucking cared about it. Oh yeah, when it came out, I didn't even know it came out, because why? The minute it came out, I had to take a plane to Charlotte, and my first mind was man, I hope Tarbin's not serious about leaving, because, you know, I want to talk to him before he really makes up that decision. I want to really engage in this conversation before any of this fucking goes down, because at least that's kind of what I think we should do. So Mitre 2 comes out, nobody gives a fuck. I don't give a fuck. And we just go and fly to Charlotte. And I still remember the first thing I went to, because Charlotte is where we were prepping for a month before we went out into the world with our tour. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, there's no fucking way this is happening. There's no way that this is happening, and we are not doing, So we went, and I was like, Tyrone, you gotta be straight with me, man. Are you really leaving? I was like, no, I thought, are you leaving? Because I gotta know. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, fuck, man. And you know, this is when we will have these conversations. I'm not gonna go too much into detail, but you know, I still remember, man. I was like, man, if you made this already, bro, if you made this already, like, why don't you fucking just tell me? Like, and I understand why, like, this is the thing, I understand this unconditional line sometimes where Tywin has his best interest in me. I'm not saying he doesn't. He has his best interest in me, but sometimes because of that unconditional line, that just it's a bit hard for him or me to cross. You know, some things I think he wants to just handle it on his own. But you know what? Like, the reason why I'm saying all of this is because I never really find the appropriate time to ever talk about how I feel about any of it. Like, really, ever. It fucks me up because it's just like, man, if I see this dude suffering, I'm like, oh, bro, I can't. There's no time for me to suffer. Like, this dude's fucking at it. And I still remember, I'm like, man, what would it take for you to... And by all means, like, I was so over the moon that he had finally found his edge. Like, he had finally found the confidence to want to do something of his own. That was his dream. Like, he wanted to do something of his own. I didn't know it would come at that time. I just thought, man, like, we were doing this together. Like, I thought this was like our thing. Like, I thought this was like the whole point of it. Like, if Scott's out of the picture, don't we get the keys to our kingdom? Like, can't we just work this out with Jeff then, right? Like, is it that much of a hard problem? I don't understand what's getting in the way other than Scott. So, you know, my thing was like don't go away. Like, just stay here. Because my mind is starting to split. And, you know, like, I just need somebody. Like, I just need the fucking people. And, you know, like, when I heard, like, okay, this guy was already kind of, like, dead set on wanting to leave. And trust me, like, if you're going through your first fucking trauma and you're going through, like, the first, like, your road trip to becoming, like, a fucking villain, your villain arc story, as they say, there's nothing that's going to get in your way. There's just nothing. And when I saw that, I'm like, immediately I thought my C Clan days, like, oh my God, like, this guy would have done it. Tywin, out of all people, is a responsible dude, but when you get that obsessively into his mind as you did Scott, when you fucked him up with the whole, like, paranoia with the money thing, you fucking did it. You've really done my boy in. And honestly, like, that's just one of the things that I'll probably never forgive myself for as well. It's just having the lack of knowledge to be able to see that nuance and identify it, and fucking really letting that get to this guy's head and cracking him in the shell. So it's like all his fears, and mind you, it's because he had a hard upbringing. This guy had a really hard upbringing. He had his family, he had his mum, his dad had cancer. Like, he went through the fucking trenches just to be able to be where he is. And trust me, God gave it his all. And you fuck with that, yeah, that would do it to you. So I don't blame him for being the way he is. But at the same time, like, I knew there was no way of getting to him through that anger and through that cloud. I didn't know, the only thing I didn't know was how much my world was breaking into fucking pieces. I just didn't know. I just didn't know how much my world was breaking into pieces after that. I tried convincing Tywin to stay. I was like, listen, man, like, you could do your own thing, but let's just stick together first, and then let's, like, figure out a way to do your own thing. But I knew, man, like, and trust me, I relate to this, and I understand. If you're there and you're fucking filled with it, and this guy has sent you to the existential end of the world, you are going to try to disassociate with that with any means possible. Trust me. Take it from me. So I knew I wanted to be there for him, but at the same time, when I looked down, I was falling apart. DPO was meant to be my salvation. The people that I thought I was going to be here just are now kind of a figment of what I thought was real. And you know, like I was just getting in my own fucking head, and you know, it was doing me in, trying to hold together. Mind you, we were doing tour, so we were doing 46 cities like this. In this current state, in this intensifying fucking frequency, that is how we started tour. And I still feel so bad for the boys, you know. I'm like, man, what would it take for you to come back, man? Like, be like, hell, like if you, as long as you got the rights and you got the keys and it's all done and set in paper, I'll come back to DPR. I'm like, all right, bro, but let's all right, then let's do that. Like, let's figure out a way together to get that. But like, what would that entail? Like, and mind you, at that period of time, it wasn't Jeff. Like, there was no fuckery appointed to this guy. So it was just Scott that was doing that. Obviously, he mingled with all that shit and he fucked everything up with that. But that was the catalyst of why everything tumbled for me personally and for Live. And everyone on the team started getting fucking crazy. It wasn't just me and Live that was struggling. Chunyong, I remember Chunyong like this guy, like this guy goes out of the way for everyone while doing it on the you know, the minimal amount of money that he makes, you know. And I still remember like when he finally made the money to buy his friends like a meal. I think that was the first time I saw him like tear up. And you know, stuff like that just fucking breaks my heart, but it also like hits a side of me where it just fuels this fucking fury. And it was like a side of me which I never decided and I never wanted to bring back up again, but it was creeping up on me ever since C. Clown he started locking up. But I the doors and the keys and the chains were starting to fucking unlock and break, and no longer could I put anyone in front of that door to mark opening ever again. So and so the tour happened. I don't know how. I remember spending my birthday there during rehearsals. You know, it's fucking the most depressing birthday I've ever spent in my life. It's just, we were all segregated. We were just all parted away into our own thoughts, and you know, and my immediate thought was just like, man, how the fuck do I make these guys like? How do I make it work? How do I make it like? How do I ease his fire a little bit? Like, what is something that I can do to help that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do I do this? Like, I've never been in this conundrum before. And then, you know, we started doing these shows. And, you know, the deal was like, we wouldn't see, like, Scott wouldn't travel with us. Like, he wasn't allowed to. That was the deal. Like, bro, like, we'll do this, but like, can't. Don't let him anywhere near the boys. And then we'll travel like that. But fucking hell, you know, like, even the way that the tour money was split, like, that was all on Scott's decision as well. Like, you guys got to understand the imprint and the blueprint that was set up in business. How much somebody was getting, how much somebody was getting out of that was all fucking done by Scott. Like, it wasn't like none of us had fucking say in this. Did we suspect any fuckery was going on? No, because why the fuck would someone do that? Like, if anything was to come to light, don't you think, like, this would be like, especially to me, man, don't you think I'll fucking, sorry. The reason why I just got to prevent myself going up from these is because I'm on like, I'm on a bit of a, I've got to be careful of me tripping out. But anyway, tour happened, and you could imagine it's every fucking thing, every worst nightmare. We put so much money into the production, which we did not design. Scott had his ways of setting up the tour. So even from the element of bringing that tour to life, like, that was all in Scott's budget. Like, I don't know how much he spent like a fucking shit ton of money in that, but that was all production. Like that was all of that. And my only thought was like, damn, I finally get to see the fans. I finally get to perform in front of our crowd. And, you know, like that was the last of my thoughts. Like that, you got to understand that was meant to be what I was excited for, like bringing Mitre to life, being able to see the fans that I finally reached was like something that was so important to me. But the fact that the matter of the fact was like, it just, like that was like, I couldn't even process that. And then we did one show, we did one after the other. We started in the States. And with each show, I remember, man, like I was like, after I did my thing, it wouldn't even feel like I'm the artist. I'll be like, fuck, I'll go to Tarpin, I'll tend to him. Because I'm worried. That was the first thought I had. As soon as I finished my show, I think, fuck, like, is this guy okay? Is this guy alright? And you saw, I mean, I'm sure you've seen his documentaries and stuff, but like, he's like, those moments where you see in the green rooms where he's having a hype, that's all real. Like that was like pretty much most of the fucking shows we did. So there was no time for me to process how I felt about any of this. But I knew, but you guys got to understand, I knew there was like a big part of me that I wasn't addressing, and that was like, yo, I thought this was meant to be your salvation, man. I thought this was meant to save you, not kill you. And that one thought was a thought that drove me into oblivion. It was like after the 10th show, I think, I started cracking. I started cracking because why? There was no support. Tarbin was smart enough. He found Hyunsu. Like he found that guy to go with him on tour. I'm not used to that. Like I don't know what managers are. I don't know. I've never had it. So there was no real support system for our artist structure. And this is one thing I realized during that period. I was like, damn. So this is what we need. We need more support for our artists. It was such a unusual. But here's the reason. Being an artist myself, I think that's what I can kind of now understand is what is needed. I kind of always thought maybe I was the support for live, but now not being able to differentiate that and really kind of split that